No more leaks, no more teasers. The all-new 2021 Ford Bronco Sport has made its official debut. And in this video, I'm gonna show you the new crossover, which is supposed to be a little bit more off-road worthy than most. And I'm gonna tell you all the specs, everything we know about it. I'm also going to tell you how it compares against some of its main competitors from Jeep and Toyota. And if you want to know more about its big brother, the 2021 Bronco, you can head over to TFL Off-Road channel, where Steven takes a deep dive into the big mid-size Bronco, which is a truck-based SUV. And if you want to know how the new big Bronco compares against the Jeep Wrangler and the Toyota 4Runner, head on over to TFL Car YouTube channel. But right here, right now, let's talk about Bronco Sport, which is a completely different vehicle from the bigger Bronco. Basically what it is, it's a crossover that's built on a chassis that's shared with the Ford Escape crossover, which means it's a compact crossover, all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive vehicle, and it competes against the segment leaders, the best sellers like the Toyota RAV4, but also it has a more off-road oriented approach, so it's a little bit more targeted against the Jeep Cherokee and the Jeep Compass, among others. So let's talk about style. Well, it kind of looks like a little tiny Land Rover to me, which I think is really cool because it's an adventurous vehicle. It's supposed to take you off the beaten path. But Ford, what they have done here is, it's not an Escape. It's obviously not. So the shape is completely different. It's a little bit more upright, a little bit more boxy. The headlights, the taillights, that's all different. They have bright colors, two-tone paints. So all of that is there, including LED lights and the rest. Ford is calling it Built Wild, which is their marketing term. I'm not going to be using that, but what I did want to mention is GOAT modes, G-O-A-T, and this does not stand for greatest of all time. What it stands for in Bronco terms, if you look back into their history, is goes over any terrain, which is, I think, a pretty clever marketing strategy from Ford. And we'll go over the specifications and some of the GOAT modes a little bit later on the Bronco Sport as well. Let's look under the hood. The new Bronco Sport is going to be offered with two powertrain options. It all starts with a 1.5 liter three-cylinder turbocharged engine with 181 horsepower and 190 pound-feet of torque. So this is supposed to be more a fuel-efficient option for your day-to-day driving. And it's a turbocharged engine, which means it's got a lot of torque down low. It is a three-cylinder, but Ford is also using it in their Ford Escapes. So it's already been proven in several other vehicles before it even gets to the Bronco Sport. And then the top-of-the-line engine is a 2-liter turbocharged four-cylinder, and this has a lot more power, 245 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque. Both of these engines are mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And like I said already, both of these engines are shared with the Ford Escape. Now let's quickly take a look at the trim levels, because Ford is doing something completely new with this Bronco Sport. It's not going to be an S, SE, SEL, XL, XLT, none of that. They have a base version of the Bronco Sport, and then they go to the Big Bend and Outer Banks. So basically these trim levels are based on parks, outdoor areas that you can go to and seek adventure. And the base engine there is a 1.5 liter. Then on the top end, there's the Badlands and the First Edition. The First Edition is basically their launch edition for the Bronco Sport, and the Badlands is their most off-road worthy Bronco Sport, which has different suspension settings and different tires that I'll go over in a second. And obviously, variety of colors amongst all of those trim levels. Now let's take a look at the four-wheel drive system. You can also call it all-wheel drive in this Bronco Sport. It's similar to what Ford has used in the Ford Escape, but it has a few unique features because it's supposed to do a little bit more heavy-duty off-roading, so to speak. Once again, independent suspension all the way around. There are no solid axles underneath this vehicle. It's a unibody crossover. In the back, they're using an updated twin clutch differential. What does that mean? Well, a couple of things. First of all, it can act as a locker, like a traditional locker. Both clutches can basically lock, and both rear tires can actually power at the same time, at the same speed, which is a nice feature if you're getting stuck. Or it's also torque vectoring. So you could actually send up to 100% of power to one side or the other. It can help in a variety of situations. Can be used in spirited driving on a drive highway, or if you need to kind of switch power side to side on slippery conditions, you can also do that. There's no low-range transfer case in the Bronco Sport, so it's not like the big brother, the main Bronco in that respect. But the Bronco Sport has front hydraulic rebound stops. So basically, instead of having just pure rubber or composite bump stops, it has a hydraulic unit which offers, according to Ford, a quieter ride and a little bit less jarring ride on those big bumps. The Bronco Sport will also offer up to 4 steel bash plates, Ford says, basically skid plates, which is very important. A lot of crossovers in this segment, including the Toyota RAV4 and the Jeep, sometimes use some sort of aluminum or even plastic coverings or skid plates. It's nice that Ford chose steel because it needs to be tough. The Bronco Sport has 23.6 inches of water fording, almost 2 feet. That's pretty good. And on the most off-road worthy version of it, the Badlands, with the 29-inch tall tires, yes, 29 inches, which is actually pretty large for this segment. It has really good approach and departure angles. The Bronco Sport has another trick up its sleeve, its trail control system, and you've seen it in some of the other trucks and vehicles from Ford. Basically, it's like an off-road cruise control system where you could set it in the forward gear in drive. It works up to 20 miles an hour in small increments. So you can basically let go of the brake and the gas, and the vehicle will basically modulate the accelerator and the brake to maintain speed up or down in difficult terrain, and all you're doing is steering. It also works in reverse up to 6 miles an hour. So if you're heading back or backing out of a difficult situation, you can also use this trail control mode. I think it's pretty cool. Like the new Ford Ranger also has a very similar system. It's kind of a trucky system, which is nice to see. Now, what are some of the other adventure-based features on this crossover? Well, it has different stuff like the LED flood lamps on the rear tailgate. It's got a 400-watt inverter, so you can charge your devices or lights or additional equipment. It has military-style mole straps, basically that weave where you can add accessories, and it's a very firm connection. A lot of Jeeps, like the Jeep Wrangler, also use that type of system. It also has Sync 3 with an 8-inch touchscreen, so that's all there. It's also being offered with Ford Copilot 360 driver assistance safety system, which is very important, and this also matches what the Ford Escape is doing. And at launch, Ford says it's going to have about 100 accessories, factory-approved accessories from Ford Performance Parts, and also bundles. So there's like a bicycle bundle, snow bundle, water bundle, and camping bundles. So when you go and ask for accessories, they might ask you, well, what kind of lifestyle do you have? What do you prefer doing? If you say mountain biking, they can kind of direct you into that area, and also tell you that in the cargo hold you can actually put a mountain bike upright, which is a really cool feature on this Bronco Sport. These bicycles can be up to 27.5 inches, so that's really cool. So you don't have to like struggle with it and put your mountain bike at an angle and stuff like that. That's really useful. Also, if you're worried about towing, if you're bringing a small trailer with you, the new Bronco Sport will be able to tow up to between 2,000 or 2,200 pounds, depending on the engine and also the configurations. So that's not class leading. The Jeep Cherokee can tow with a V6, can tow up to 4,500 pounds, but it's kind of par for the course. Some other vehicles like the RAV4 have lower towing ratings of about 1,500 pounds. So it's right in the middle, right there. So how much will the Bronco Sport cost? Well, actually, we have that information for the base model. The base pricing for a four-wheel drive crossover will start at $28,155. And here's exactly how it compares against the Jeep Cherokee Latitude, which is the base model for the Jeep. With all-wheel drive, the Jeep Cherokee starts at $27,585, and the Toyota RAV4 LE all-wheel drive, which is the class leader, starts at $27,350 with an all-wheel drive system. So this Bronco Sport is actually a little bit more expensive by about between $800 or $600 over some of these competitors. So what do you guys think about that? Is it actually going to be worth that much? Let's find out. And we don't know exactly how much the most luxurious and the highest option Bronco Sport will cost yet, but you will be able to pre-order them today. And here's how it compares against some of the competitors on fuel efficiency and kind of size. The Bronco Sport has a wheelbase of 105.1 inches and overall length of 172.7 inches. That's a couple of inches shorter than the Ford Escape. So if you've seen the new Ford Escape, you will know that the Bronco Sport will be a little bit shorter, and the shorter wheelbase helps those breakover angles. So that's really important for off-roading. Since we don't have fuel efficiency for the Bronco Sport, we can take a look at the fuel efficiency for the Escape, which for all-wheel drive models goes up to about 28 mpg combined, 31 on the highway for the smaller engine, and 26 mpg combined for the 2.0 liter turbo engine. So that's competitive as far as turbocharged engines in the segment are concerned. The Jeep Cherokee has a slightly longer wheelbase than the Bronco Sport at 106.5 inches, and overall length 10 inches more of it, 182.9 inches on the Cherokee. So the Bronco Sport will be a lot shorter than that. Of course, the Cherokee also has its own 2-liter turbocharged engine with a lot more power and torque. The Cherokee engine is 270 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque with a 9-speed automatic. And the Cherokee combined MPG is 23. So you get more power, but less efficiency there. And of course, the RAV4, very similar dimensions to the Bronco Sport, about 105.9 inches of wheelbase. And total length on the RAV4 is about 180.9 inches. And the RAV4 uses a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter 4-cylinder gas engine with 203 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. So Toyota is not using turbocharging, but Toyota does have a hybrid available right now, which is a lot more efficient. And Ford did not announce anything about a Bronco Sport hybrid or plug-in hybrid, although Ford Escape offers it. So if I was to look into the future myself, I could see maybe within a year or two Ford offering hybrid systems in the Bronco Sport. They're just not ready. It's not being announced today. Well, in the comments below, guys, let me know what you think about the new Bronco Sport. And of course, like I told you, head over to TFL Off-Road channel for more the big Bronco news and comparisons on TFL car.